Excellent. So thank you for the presentation. My name is Mercedes Esteves Filho, and I am the lead scientist at the Portuguese VLTI Expertise Center, which is based at the Faculty of Engineering of the University of Oporto in Porto, Portugal. And today I'll be presenting the VLTI Expertise Centers and the support that we provide, the user support that we provide, and how we expand the community. So before talking about the VLTI Expertise Centers, I have to mention the European Interferometry Initiative, or the EII, which is an open association of institutes and laboratories that collaborate in the exploitation and development of long baseline interferometry in the optical and in the infrared. The EII has various activities, and the activities have been funded through the 6th and 7th framework program, and later on in the Horizon 2020 research and development programs. And now the activities are funded by the Opticon RadioNet pilot program, ORP, which I will talk a little bit about in the end of this talk. So first, let's take a look at the VLTI user community. So who are the people that apply for observing time with the VLTI? So if we look at the past 15 years, we've had 350 unique PIs. If we look more recently to the past 4 years, there have been 150 unique PIs and 550 unique COIs. In terms of accepted proposals, in the past 2 years, we have had 86 unique PIs and 385 unique COIs. We can plot this data in an interesting way to understand what's going on. And here what we have are the plots in percentage of PIs on the left and of co-PIs on the right that participate in GTO proposals. The letters that you see in the plots are the 3 first letters of the instruments. In black, the VLT instruments. In blue, VLT instruments with no GTO. And in red, we have VLTI instruments. And these are the statistics over the past 12 period of observations of the VLTI. And what is most apparent in these plots is that most of the early users of the VLTI instruments were dominated by the GTO teams. When we run polls among the astronomical community, the reason that is most provided for not using the VLTI or not proposing time for the VLTI has been the lack of expertise and the complexity of the technique. So this has been the main reason why people are not proposing for VLTI. And hence, the VLTI Expertise Center Network, or VEC network, was created in order to confront these issues that have been brought about by the astronomical community about the lack of expertise and the difficulty in the technique. So the VLTI Expertise Center Network was created as part of the network activity NA2, funded by the original Opticon grant under the Horizon 2020 program. And it was precisely created as a need to enable experts and non-experts alike throughout Europe to maximize the impact of the dramatically enhanced capabilities provided by the VLTI instrumentation. And at present, the VEC network activities are being funded under the EU-funded ORP project, which began in March 2021. So who are the VLTI Expertise Network? Well, it's a network of 6 institutions spread across Europe. There were 3 original VLTI Expertise Centers from the Horizon 2020 program, and those were Porto, France, and Exeter. We also have KU Leuven as an expertise center, and 2 recent newcomers that arrived with the new ORP program, and these were the Leiden Observatory and Concoli Observatory in Budapest. So I'm going to just go through the user support available and resources available at each one of the VLTI networks. So, oh, sorry, skip the slide. So what kind of user support activities are available? So there's a help desk based at the JMMC that handles queries of all users of the VLTI community and on all support matters, which include also distributing the user requests for virtual face-to-face meetings in each of the VECs. There's personalized user support that goes all the way from proposal preparation, observation preparation, all the way to image reconstruction. The meetings can be virtual or face-to-face, and they can go all the way from very basic assistance in using the data reduction tools that are available for the VLTI, all the way to the more advanced support in understanding reduced VLTI data. So as I was saying before, let's begin by looking at each of the VLTI expertise centers and the user support that is available and resources that are available at each of these VECs. So we begin with the JMMC. So the JMMC aggregates personnel from 4 observatories in France, namely from Paris, Meudon, from Lyon, Grenoble, Côte d'Azur. The JMMC and SUV, so the user support coordinator is Alexis Matter, from Côte d'Azur. They've allocated 0.75 FTEs to user support. They support mainly instruments Matisse and Gravity, and to a lesser extent Pioneer. And they provide support all the way from proposal preparation all the way to image reconstruction. And their expertise is mainly in the development and maintenance of public software for observation preparation and analysis, such as ASPRO2, LitPro, OI imaging, and OI tools. They also develop and maintain databases as well as publication databases such as Albin. So the next VLTI expertise center is Centra in Porto. So it is run by Centra. The coordinator is Paulo Garcia, and I'm the lead scientist. We've allocated 0.1 FTEs for user support, and we support mainly the VLTI instrument Gravity, also in all stages of data reduction, observer preparation, etc. And in terms of expertise, as of 2020 March, so with the beginning of the ORP program and with funding from the ORP program, this VEC offers data reduction of Gravity archive data in coordination with ESA. Next is Exeter. So the coordinator of the VLTI Expertise Center in Exeter is Stefan Kraus, as you may know. They've allocated 0.06 FTEs for user support. They provide mainly support for the VLTI instrumentation Gravity, also in all facets of data reduction, on image reconstruction, etc. And the expertise provided at Exeter is consulting on coordinated observations with US observatories. We have KU Leuven, which has as coordinator Marc-Antoine Martineau. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And they've allocated 0.25 FTEs for user support. They support the instrument Gravity, and to a lesser extent Pioneer, also from proposal preparation all the way to image reconstruction. And they provide interesting expertise in terms of data obtained with the VLTI for objects such as circumstellar environments, AGB stars, exozodiacal disks, high contrast applications, massive stars, and young stellar objects. Then we have Leiden Observatory, which I've put here as under construction since it is a new VLTI expertise center. And the coordinator is Michiel Hogerheid. I hope I pronounced that correctly as well. They've allocated 0.1 FTEs to user support, and they provide support for Matisse in all stages of the data reduction, as well as archival data. And finally, we have Konpoli Observatory, whose coordinator is Peter Abraham, and they've allocated 0.25 FTEs to user support, and they support mainly Matisse VLTI proposal preparation all the way to image reconstruction. Okay, so besides the main activities, which is user support of the VEX, there are also other activities that are supported by the VEX and funded by the ORP program. And those are dissemination activities. So we deliver presentations at international and national meetings where VLTI capabilities and available support through the VEX is advertised, both to the general astronomer audience as well as to key science audience, such as the radio community or even the VLTI community. And the idea with these activities is to increase diversity among VLTI PIs and also co-Is. So the idea in terms of diversity is not only in terms of people. So we target not only young stage researchers, but also later stage researchers who are interested in using the VLTI, but who are discouraged in using the VLTI because of its difficulty in terms of technique and the lack of expertise. So we want to target all career stages in terms of increasing the diversity of PI and co-Is in VLTI. We also want to attract astronomers from other wavelengths that would be interested in using VLTI, for example, to complement observations that they already have at other wavelengths. So dissemination is a very important way to attract and diversify the VLTI PIs and co-Is in terms of proposal submission. There are also training activities. So we organize specific training actions, namely the VLTI Schools of Interferometry, which include important hands-on experience. And there are also organization of special sessions in meetings that have a training component, which also goes all the way from proposal preparation to image reconstruction. And the idea in these training activities is to expand the expertise among the non-experts, of course, but also those that are already quite versed in using the VLTI. As an example, the last in-person VLTI interferometry school that we had was in July 2018. It was organized by Centra in Lisbon. There were 37 participants from 15 countries. 76% of those participants were either master students or PhD students. 38% of the participants were female. And a third of these students went on to submit VLTI proposals in the next call for proposals, which was 103. So it was a very productive school. The next school that was held was the 10th VLTI, a School for Interferometry, which was held in June 2021 after several postponements. And it was held online due to the pandemic. And there were 70 participants, and it was organized by the JMMC. And there's also, for those that don't know, there's also a special session at the European Astronomical Society annual meeting, which will be held in Valencia in June and July of 2022. And the special session is on 20 years of VLTI, going faint. And here there's a combination of talks, science talks, and also some talks on using VLTI tools, etc. So it's a mix. There will also be a sort of training components in this meeting as well. So these are the actions in terms of training activities. There are also important knowledge transfer activities, and the Sharpest Eyes on the Sky conference is a very good example of such knowledge transfer activities. So the idea here is to organize expertise and know-how exchange with complementary interferometry communities and other communities as well. And the idea here is to cultivate inter and interdisciplinarity, which is also very important in terms of going forward with the VLTI. There are also synergy activities, namely those organizing special sessions, for example, the VLTI Open or Community Days, which brings together the academic and non-academic sectors to foment mutually beneficial synergies, stimulate networking, and procure new opportunities within the VLTI. And the idea here is to create sustainable technological, economical, and societal impacts. And
so you have 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'm finishing up. So we also have outreach activities, so organizing special sessions and participating in local, national, and international public forums, such as the European Researchers Night, where interesting VLTI information about the instrument and science results are brought to the general public. And finally, there's also a social responsibility in terms of VLTI scientists to engage the general community in the science that we do, including trying to engage the community through, for example, citizen science projects, which have been very fruitful in other areas of astronomy. We have the social responsibility of stimulating STEM careers, promoting gender equality, inspiring underrepresented and marginalized groups, and finally, encouraging diversity, equity, and inclusion. Of particular interest is the FISO program. So the FISO program functions under the EII umbrella, and it funds travel and accommodation of transnational visits to an institute of choice, either within Europe or an associated country, to perform collaborative work or training on one of the active topics of the European Interferometry Initiative. And this is important because you can also ask for funding for visits to the VLTI expertise centers for training, for reducing your data, etc. And finally, I just want to talk about very quickly the ORP project. So the Opticon RadioNet pilot project began in March 2021. It brings together the well-established community in ground-based astronomy and offers support and development access to radio and optical facilities in an efficient, coordinated, and future-looking program. There are 37 partners. Perhaps you can identify your institution in this list of partners. And there are infrastructures participating in this project that are very diverse, such as the VLTI network, the European VLBI network, LOFAR, Effelsberg, the IRM 30-meter telescope, Merlin, and also the European ARC. Or ALMA Regional Center. So that brings us to the end of my talk. So thank you for your interest and attention. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Do you have any questions for Mercedes? Dan, do we have any online at all? If not, then let me ask you one now, Mercedes. If people have a need to investigate the facilities on offer, what is the best way for them to communicate? Is it to go via the lead in the VEC in their country? What's the best approach?
Okay, so there's if you want more detailed information on the VECs, there is a page which is the EII webpage, which is, if you just Google it, you'll find it, it'll appear very quickly. In terms of utilizing the VEC resources, you can either utilize the VEC resources that are geographically more close to you, if you will, or you can choose any of the other VECs for support. You may, for example, have a particular type of issue or problem that you want to resolve. And so from the list of expertise, you can see which is the appropriate VEC. So the easiest part is to contact the lead scientist or the coordinator of your local VEC, and they will most likely orient you towards the VEC that is most suited for your needs. So all of the contacts, all of the web pages, contacts are on the webpage of the EII. There's a VLTI expertise network dedicated webpage there that you can click, and you can find all the information you need there.
Okay, thanks very much. I've got one online question, which is, have you seen an increase of requests from users of the expertise centres as they've been deployed?
It's a little bit difficult to say that, as we had the pandemic, which has drastically reduced this type of user resource. So there has been an increase since it was created, but due to the pandemic, there's been a lot of there hasn't been a very large use of the VLTI expertise centers because of the pandemic. So what used to be face-to-face meetings were no longer possible, and so people were more discouraged to use these resources during the pandemic. But hopefully now that the pandemic is sort of getting a little bit better, we hope that we will be able to catch up and see that increase in usage of the VECs.
Do we have any more questions at all from the audience here, or Dan, anything online? If not, then let's thank Mercedes again